Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff with Fluent American. We are here at the Schwa Mill to craft your American English accent. Let's craft your accent. Getting started now. So the way this works is you will see at the top of the chat box, I've included a link that will bring you to a document. In that document, there will be some instructions there that will guide you through sending your audio files. And basically, it involves a website known as Vocaroo. Vocaroo is great because what it does is they let you record yourself. Oh, give me one sec. My microphone's on the complete wrong mic. That's a problem. Let's try this. Okay. Hello to Emmanuel, by the way, and hello also to Shok. Take two. Okay. I will be questioning the prompts in a moment, but again, you will see the document. The document will take you to a site called Vocaroo where you'll be able to record your audio, and then you can basically it sends you a link. You can then use that link and post it into the documents, and I will be able to hear you and give some suggestions on things to say. Okay. And again, Emmanuel asks the very important question: did we run out of prompts? We did not run out of prompts, though you will see normally the way we've done live streams is I've given you like two sentences and then you can choose between them and basically then, just kind of say the sentence. But I thought just to kind of add a little bit of variety to give us a greater range of sentences and to give you a wider range of sounds and things like that to hear. I thought this might be an opportunity basically today. You can either choose between some quotes. For today, I've chosen Mark Twain, an American author. Or you can give a sentence of something that you find yourself saying a lot, or maybe something that you're saying, but you have questions about how to pronounce it. Because just to kind of give you some more flexibility in that department. Okay, we'll see how it goes. I would love your feedback. Let me know if you would rather have more guidance, you want a specific sentence to say, let me know that. Or if you kind of like having things a little bit more open, again, you do have some structure because there's a lot of different quotes to choose from. You can let me know what you prefer. Okay. Our faceless, pictureless, nameless person is also back. Great to see you. Yeah, so let me know what you thought after the stream in the comments, things like that. If you're joining us in the replay, welcome. And just a note too, the document where you send in your audio files, this is the same document that we use every single week. So if you're catching us later and you're like, oh, this is cool, I want to send in my own pronunciation. Or maybe you're watching this now and you're like I'm watching and I'm interested, but I don't want to send in my own audio, at least not right now. Well, what you can do, again, save the document link because it doesn't change. So that way, in the future, if it's something that interests you or you want to send a file, for whatever reason, things change, it would be great to hear from you. Use that same link. You'll see all the information. It's typically updated on Thursday or Friday. Whew, so that is a lot of information. And kind of speaking just about the quotes. So again, people in general kind of it seems like most people I listen to beforehand all chose quotes, and that's fine. A lot of people chose the same quote. But not everyone did, so we will have some variety. And of course, as we go through the stream too, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can post those in the chat box as well. Okay. Also, if you're lurking in the background, let me know. Say hello. Say hi. Let me know if it's your first time. Let me know if you're here every week. Okay. Emmanuel also asked where we're supposed to write the quote sentences. I did add a column where you can. Okay, so just in case I, for whatever reason, have a hard time understanding, maybe there's an issue with the mic, maybe there's an issue with pronunciation, who knows? In case there's any misunderstandings, you do have the opportunity. I did add a column of those a little bit later after I'd sent the document, so some people didn't do it. But you don't have to. Okay, it's just something if you're worried that we may miss something, you can let me know. Okay. And I can't read Cyrillic. I'm sorry, but hello, Vladimir. Welcome back to the stream. Vladimir is now, I think this is his third live stream with us. He's been busy, but it's great that he takes some time to spend on the Saturday with us. That's great. Okay, so because I don't know or like the sentences and things like that are different. Let's just kind of go right into the pronunciation file. Give me one moment and I will share my screen and my audio so you can see. Okay. Give me one sec. Emmanuel, the column was not for you. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, I'm having some quick issues. So again, let's just kind of show you the format, and I will have my headset on. Oh, let me add myself there, right? Again, it's not little, it's more little.
The G host was class.
Are you feeling that here, here, or here? There we go. I'm all set up. Okay, so let me now share my screen. We can take a look. Okay. No. And this is the one that we want. Okay. And let me put myself somewhere. There I am. Okay. So again, this is what the document looks like when you send us an audio file. And I guess for sake of consistency, we'll just kind of go in order here. I think we have time to get through everybody. In case you join us later, feel free to. Plenty of open spots. I think this is infinite. Okay, we'll do as many as we can for the next hour and a half or so. Starting off with Kevin's here. Kevin, thanks for sending the file.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Ah, classic. I'll play that again.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Okay. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. Okay. I'll play it one more last time.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
So I would say that you have there are lots of opportunities for stress. And I think you're hitting all of them. when in reality, it might be helpful instead of like stressing, like there's two major thought groups here. I think your first thought group would be this part here.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
I think that's your first thought group. Okay. I would recommend, because right now you're doing like size, dog, fight, you're putting some heavy stresses on all of those, which can certainly work. But, when you add more and more stresses to your sentence, it kind of actually has the opposite effect. It makes everything sound less important. But for quotes like this, a lot of times these quotes they're kind of like balancing acts. It's almost like a seesaw. You're trying to draw attention from one aspect on one side to another aspect on the other side. And to kind of make that parallel just a little bit clearer, a little bit more apparent, we probably want to cut down on stresses. Okay, so instead of having like 3 stresses there, maybe just picking 1. And the same thing with the second half.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Okay, so let's kind of listen to this and let me know in the chat, what words, if you could only stress 2 words in this audio file, if you could only stress 2, which 2 words would you stress? I'll play it 2 times.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
I'll play it one more time. What 2 words would you stress?
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
I have ideas for mine. Let's hear the first part again.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
Size of the dog in the fight. So I would personally, if I had to choose some stresses for this, if I wanted things to really stand out, I would consider maybe last words in each thought group.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
Since it's not the size of the dog in the fight, maybe it's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Size of the fight in the dog. That's one option. Another option could be.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight.
Okay, it's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah, so I think Emmanuel's also suggesting size. So how would that stress if we do size for the first part?
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Emmanuel, when you say size, do you mean size for both, or size for the first one, or size for the second one? Okay.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
So if we stress size there, for instance, it's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
The size of the dog. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the dog. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Size and fight. Size and fight. So if we do a size and fight, that would sound like
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
it's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
It's the size of the fight in the dog. Size of the fight. Like that. I could see that for the first thought group. The second thought group, that would be a little bit tricky for me to say. Feels a little irregular.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah, I think for me, the most natural one would probably be the last word of each thought group. So just some like general things about thought groups, So if you're not sure what a thought group is that's not what I wanted. Here I am. Okay. Hello to Mike. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Mike, if you haven't sent us an audio file, consider. The thing about thought groups, in the thought group, if you're not sure what that is, a thought group is a unit or a group of words that go together in a sentence, typically before a pause. Okay, not always, but typically. And this is really helpful in English because in every thought group, there is one word that's going to receive the primary stress. Okay, there may be other stressed words, but one of them should be the heaviest. Okay, and if you have a sentence and there is no context whatsoever, that's kind of like what we're doing today. We're looking at sentences without any context. We don't know the situation for when these things are being said. So if you have to guess where the stress is, and again, you have no idea really, so you're just entirely guessing. You have no clue. The most likely place to put the stress would be towards the end of the thought group on whatever your content word is. Okay. And when we say the stress on the content word, a content word is going to be like an adjective, a noun, a verb. Those are your typical content words, like blue, book, run. Okay. Even like adjectives like hot. Other common words that receive stress are also adverbs, like really, or things like that, or still. So those are the typical words that are going to receive stress. Function words like prepositions like in or on, or articles like the or and. These words typically do not receive stress. They can, but it's much less likely. So if you have a thought group and you're not sure where stress goes, I would really recommend that you put it on whatever your last major content word is. And that's kind of what we see with this quote here. So for instance, our first thought group.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. Fight would be your last content word. It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Size of the fight in the dog. Okay. So again, the second part would be dog would be your last major content word. We'll talk about some other things related, but not related to stress. So that's just the place where I personally would probably put the stress right now. Emmanuel asks a great question, though. What does this even mean? Okay, so like size of the dog in the fight. So like it's not the size of the dog in the fight. That's basically saying it doesn't matter how big the dog is, the size of the dog in the fight, how big the dog is. It's not about that. That doesn't matter. What matters is
the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
It's the size of the fight in the dog. It's how much, quote unquote, fight the dog has. Like how much willingness to win, how much eagerness, how much does the dog want to win? Like the size of the fight in the dog. How much does this dog want to win? Okay, so it's not important how big the dog is. It's about how much does it want to win. Okay, so you could say this is kind of like a phrase that you can use like in sports. If you have two teams in one team, on paper, they may look really, really good, but if you guys like sports and that, the better team doesn't always win, I was just kind of paying attention to that. Hawkards. Mike, I appreciate your name. I'll leave it there. Okay. Size of the dog in the fight. Yeah, so I mean, there are options. So going back to Emmanuel stresses, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. Let's hear that again. Stress and dose.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
So I think that not this. I think that can work for your first thought group. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the size of the fight in the dog. Because that last part's not going to sound very natural. It's this.
It's the size of the fight in
It's the size of the fight in the dog. It's that last part within the dog is going to sound weird. It's the size of the fight in the dog. It's not this size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Yeah. I think that's that last part with the dog. I think you're going to be more likely to stress dog than you would on fight for that last thought group. One thing is that in terms of like meaning and things like that, that doesn't necessarily always mean that in your, when you're talking that the heaviest stress is going to fall on that word. Just to note, okay, just in terms of like rhythm and things like that, because I think it would kind of mess up your rhythm. At least based on how I'm thinking of the sentence right now. But let's see what else is going on in this sentence. We spent a lot of time on stress.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
Yeah, so regardless, cut down on some of your stresses because you have a lot of stresses. So cut down on some of them.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
Pitches.
It's not the size.
I really like your progression. It's like it's not the like especially like the not it's like that lowering of the pitch, super important for adding some contrast to your sentence and things like that. I like it.
Size of the dog in the fight.
Size of the dog in the fight. In this part here, we got a little bit kind of regular of the dog in the fight. The dog in the fight. Okay. I would say, hey, can you add in some lower pitches just to increase your contrast a bit?
Size of the dog in the
dog in the fight. And part of this is because we're adding some extra stresses, so we're constantly having to raise our pitch. But again, you probably want to lower your pitch on some of those. Okay.
Fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
One thing I would say is that also I think your consonant sounds are a little bit strong.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Especially that in the dog, in the dog, in the dog. You got some heavy consonants there with the N and the TH and then the D sound.
Size of the fight in the dog.
In the dog, in the dog.
The fight in the dog.
In the dog. Versus like in the dog, in the dog, in the dog, in the dog. One thing you can try doing just to kind of like smooth it out a little bit. I don't think it's bad, but just some things help it flow a little bit. For those like in the so I kind of notice the very tip of my tongue is actually going to be down against my bottom tooth, lower jaw, and it's just in the just kind of soften that a little bit in the dog, in the dog, in the dog. Okay, so instead of in the dog, it's more in the dog. See if you can hear that difference.
Size of the fight in the dog.
In the dog, in the dog. Okay, so just a note there to kind of just smooth things out a little bit. Also give your vowels a little bit more chance to breathe. Okay. Those would be my big suggestions there. Again, this is from Kevin. Kevin, if anything there that you have questions about, be sure to let me know. I think that gives you an idea of some things to work on. Well, let me bring that back up for you guys. Let you see this. Okay. So he does ask things to work on. Okay. What should I work on? Yes, I would say try to cut down some of your stresses. Play with some of your pitches. Try to get some of your pitches a little bit lower. And try to smooth out a little bit when you have multiple heavy consonant sounds like in the dog, so you get that just flowing a little bit more. Those would be my big suggestions. All right, but thank you for sending that audio. I do appreciate it. Up next, this is Marcos.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Really like your second half. I like your stresses. I like your break.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Some little things on some vowel sounds.
Age is an issue of mind.
Short eyes.
Age is an.
There it's okay. Like ages.
Age is an issue.
Age. Maybe a little tense on age.
Age.
You hear E versus A. Age. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong for doing age, but I would like to hear it with maybe a little bit more resonance, a little bit more warmth, a little bit more open. Let's throw more air. So instead of age, more age.
Age is an issue.
Age is an issue. Watch out again, short I sound on issue. So it's not issue, more issue. Issue.
Age is an issue.
Do you hear issue is an issue versus is an issue? Age is an issue. So trying to say that whole sentence with a low open placement, just like age is an issue. Okay, I'm gonna say that like 3 times, just kind of showing you what different placements sound like. First time I'll do it really high. Second time I'll do it more in the middle, and then the last one I'll do low and open in the throat. Okay. So to give you an example, age is an issue. Age is an issue. Age is an issue. Again, age is an issue. Age is an issue. Age is an issue. Okay, so like again, I'll just try to drag things down a little bit lower. Okay, I'd also do that experiment. See if you can play around with your placements and just see how the sentence changes. And again, open up the throat a little bit more, try to get more air through. Okay, as much airflow as possible. Going back to our audio though.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you
I think on mind over matter, you open a little bit more.
issue of mind over matter.
Mind over matter. Really like matter. That R sound tends to be such a tricky vowel sound, but I really like what you're doing here. It's really open, really clear.
Mind over matter.
Or I really like that sound. That's great. So again, that first half.
Age is an issue of mind over matter.
Yeah, okay. So I think we mentioned all the major things there about like placement and things like that. Let's take a look second half.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
If you don't mind.
If you don't mind.
Mind. I do think you're a little bit tense and high on mind. So again, I would say that as mind. But here's the original again.
Matter. If you don't mind.
Mind versus mind. Okay.
It doesn't matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I think you do have some opportunities where you could go a little bit lower on some of your pitches. Because like right now, it and doesn't, they sound to me like they're about at the same pitch level.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Versus it doesn't matter. Notice the difference is I'm lowering my pitch on doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, so I think just lowering that pitch on doesn't, because it'll just give you more contrast, a little bit more natural flow. Play that one more time. Age is an issue of mind over matter.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
One last thing, actually, that comes to mind here.
Age is an issue of mind over matter.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. What's your heavy stress? Again, every thought group you want like one word that kind of has your heavy emphasis here. Like, but what is it?
Age is an issue of mind over matter.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. Almost sounds like age to me.
Age is an issue of mind over matter.
If not mind, it's age or mind. I guess
age is an issue of mind over matter.
Mind over matter. I would maybe have considered making matter my heavy stress. So instead of saying it like this,
age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
I would maybe have said that more like age is an issue of mind over matter. Age is an issue of mind over matter. Age is an issue of mind over matter. Okay. So if I had to put a really heavy stress, I'd probably put it on matter.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind.
Okay. So in that case, you have stress on mind.
If you don't mind.
I'd maybe do a little bit more rising intonation instead of mind.
If you don't mind.
Because right now you're kind of fine to if you don't mind. But that really gives it a sense of like finality. It sounds like you're kind of done. Okay. But there's more to this quote. So I would probably consider rising intonation. If you don't mind. It also lets your listener kind of prepare for the second half. It sounds like something that is kind of balanced. There's one half and there's a second half. If you use the falling intonation, though, you're kind of breaking up that pattern. So I would consider rising. Okay.
Matter. If you don't mind.
It
doesn't matter.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And heavier stress on matter. I think you could have raised your pitch a little bit more on matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Or matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Another option that you could do on stress too is like you.
Matter. If you don't mind.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So again, because it's kind of talking about age, so someone's getting old and they're feeling bad about getting older and things like that. This is a quote you could say. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. It's like I think you would be another place would be the place where I would consider putting the heavier stress personally instead of on matter.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
So if you don't mind, like if you don't mind, that would be a case where I think stressing a pronoun could certainly work. We'll listen again, see if there's other things related to like linking, stress, reductions, things like that. And of course, if you have some questions, let me know.
Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Yep, those are probably my major comments on that. If you have any questions about that, be sure to let me know. Marcos, as always, thank you for sending that audio file. Always great to hear from you. Let's see what's up. Oh man, we have some good news. Faceless and nameless. Jeff, today my internet is good. Today my voice is clear. I love I want to like wake up every day and kind of like just test my voice. Just like oh no, today's not a good day. My voice is not clear. And then some days wake up and be like, I'd be like, oh yes, Jeff, yes, today my voice is very, very clear. Yes. But that's great. Excited to hear your audio. Looking forward to it. Again, Marcos, thanks for sending that.
Age is an issue.
Who next? Marcos, I'm going to bold this. We'll come back. Okay. People are sending in twice. We'll do one, then come back for the others. I'm on the show. See what we got here.
Friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life.
Okay.
Friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life.
The ideal life. This is the ideal life. Okay. You start very strong.
Friends.
Almost adding like a southern twang to this, like friend versus friends. Friends versus friends. So just watch out for that. And I say it's more this is the same sound, for instance, like in best or slept. Back, middle, front, tongue, high. Sides of your tongue can touch your top teeth. Okay, close your mouth a little bit more and straighten those lips. Okay, so like okay. Yep. Here we go.
Friends, good.
Friends,
good books, and
good books.
Good books.
Good books. I do think so. This is your sound. I mean, this is your sound. I'm confusing myself a little bit. Okay. Hello to Rumeza checking in, by the way. Great to see you. It is not too late. Please send us a file. Great to hear you. And it's talking about recorded voice. Yeah, I understand. I'm all for adventures with glitches and stuff too, but it's great. I'm glad the audio's working.
Friends, good books.
Good books. I like good.
Friends, good books.
But I think the B on books is throwing off your sound a little bit. Because, like, again, the sound you're going for is books. Do you hear that? Books. Listen to this.
Good books.
Do you hear books versus books? Okay. So I think this is a case of your B sound interfering with your vowel sound a little bit. So what see if you can hear the difference between like books, books. Try to do that progression right now with yourself. So it's like books, books. I really recommend recording yourself as you do that and see if is there any difference in your vowel sound. Ideally, those all sound the same, no matter what you're saying. Books.
Good books.
But here again, if you find that you're doing like good, or like but then you say buh, it's like buh. That could be a sign that your lips are staying too closed right after your B sound. So it's kind of shutting down your whole vowel sound. Everything's staying too close. So it's not buh. It's more So if you find that your B is interfering, just try doing that a couple times, like and like record yourself. Make sure there's no differences there. So again, it's not books, it's more books. Good books.
Good books and
Friends, good books. Good books. Friends, good books. You're stressing good.
friends. Good books.
Friends, good books. Good books. You're stressing good or books?
Friends. Good books.
Good books. You're stressing books. Friends, good books. Friends, good books. Friends, good books. Friends, good books. Good books. Friends, good books. If I stress good, but I think it sounds better on with a stress on books. Okay.
Friends. Good books and sleepy conscious. This
Sleepy
sleepy conscious.
Sleepy conscious. I want to make sure I'm getting the right word. Sure. As I'm doing a quick check, Manuel makes the note that sound is a tricky one. Yeah, it's tricky for everybody. A lot of languages don't necessarily have that vowel sound. Because just a note. Friends, good books. Sleepy conscious. Yes, just want to make sure I understood. Yes, that was good. And a sleepy conscience. So again, this is a quote by Mark Twain. A sleepy conscience.
Be conscious.
Conscience. So it's not conscious, it's more conscience. You're conscious. I'll put this in your chat box. Conscious means that like you're awake. Conscience is like your thing that like says like if you're makes you feel guilty when you do something wrong. It's like conscience, my conscience. Okay. So note the difference there a little bit in pronunciation because that will change your meaning if you say conscious.
Be conscious.
It's like conscious. I'm hearing shis instead of shins. So that will change your meaning, just to know. In a good conscience.
Friends, good books, and sleepy conscious. This is the ideal life.
This is the ideal life. This is the ideal life. So you're stressing ideal. This is the ideal life. This is the ideal life. You know, I would consider for this one, I would actually maybe consider this. Because this is referring back to all those things you mentioned, like the friends, good books, sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life. This is the ideal life. Okay. So I'm okay with putting a little stress on ideal, but I would put the heavier one on this probably.
Friends, good books, and sleepy conscious. This is the ideal life.
Also,
Friends.
So you kind of have like this, and this. That's kind of like your first unit, right? This, and this. And then you have that second part. All these things. This is the ideal life. It's like in this sort of construction, the intonation patterns are going to be a little bit important. Okay, this is a relatively common pattern you see for like quotes and stuff. The more common way I think you'll hear it read.
Friends, good books, and sleepy conscious.
So using rising intonation on conscience. In a sleepy conscience. Okay. In a sleepy conscience. I would probably have gone falling. In a sleepy conscience. Friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life. Friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life. That's personally how I would have read it, just kind of playing around with stresses. That's not to say that there are no other alternatives. This is the only way to say it. That's just how I personally would have said it. But when you have this group, this, that's your first unit. I would think the end of your list, I would probably do a falling intonation. Just a note there.
Friends, good books, and sleepy conscious. This is the ideal life.
Another thing too is that when you have those two breaks, it's like this. That's your first unit. Pause a little bit longer. You know, one thing with quotes is again, you're trying to sound profound and deep, right? So this is where pauses are going to be really, really helpful. So I would have just added a little bit of longer pause there.
Friends, good books, and sleepy conscious. This is the ideal life.
This is the ideal life. In terms of other things, let's just talk about vowel sounds and things. Yes, I do believe this is a Mark Twain quote. Although she may also be excited and positive about the day. Shok, if you're here, let us know. Are you excited and positive about the day, or are you saying things and then Mark Twain just happened to also say them?
Friends, good books, and sleepy conscious. This is the ideal life.
I want to hear how you're saying ideal.
Life. This is the ideal life.
Ideal. I think in terms of your vowel sounds, I like your vowel sounds there. Okay.
Life.
Okay. Those would be my major comments for you. Shok, if anything there is not clear, be sure to let me know. But thank you as always for sending your audio files. Just take a quick water break. Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing. Okay. Let's see who we got next. So the Shok. Mark, I always forget if it's Mark or Marcin. But thanks for sending this file. Let's take a look at this.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Oh, wow. Lots of stresses. And I think this is the sentence that a lot of people read.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Okay. So again, this is another quote where I really think you have two main parallels. Let people think one thing is better than the other thing. Because you have two major parts, but with all the stresses you have, like I think the first half is okay, but then we kind of keep rambling. So I kind of, as a listener, I kind of lose myself a little bit. Like, where's the first half ending, and where's the second major part starting? And that's where I'm kind of getting lost because we have so many stresses.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool than to.
So right there, that's your first half.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Let people think that you're a fool. Too many stresses. Make your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool. I think you have one too many stresses. Let people think that you're a fool. I would have probably just stressed think. I probably wouldn't have stressed fool. The other option is you could do the opposite. Don't stress think and stress fool. You know, I think either of those can work, but I don't think we want to stress both because it's going to be a little bit confusing for your listener.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool than to open.
So if you just stressed closed and fool, it's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool. Let people think you're a fool. It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool. It's like something like that. Okay. That's one option. Okay. And then the other one.
Then to open it and remove all doubt.
Then to open it and remove all doubt. You know, the other option could be it's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool. No, so that would be the other option if you're doing think. There are some, let's talk about this first half. There are some things I would like to mention.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Closed. It sounds a little bit tense and high. Oh, do you hear that? Oh, sound a little bit.
It's better to keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, closed versus closed. Hear the difference between mine and this one? So again, closed, closed. Here, closed again.
Mouth closed.
Again, closed, closed. A little bit more open.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Emmanuel mentioned that they would stress think. You know, I think that's a very logical choice.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
It's kind of with like Twitch streamers and things like that. Yeah, for sure. Super popular on like the internet and stuff like that.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Let people think that you're a fool.
Your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Let people think that you're a fool versus think that you're a fool. Maybe a little bit on intonation. I think the sounds themselves are okay, but the intonation pattern might be a little bit off.
Closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Let people think that you're a fool. I don't think you need as long of a pause between think and your next part. Think that you're a fool, or think that you're a fool. But you know, regardless, you don't want as much of a pause between think and that.
Better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool.
Let people think that you're a fool. You know, it's kind of I don't know, in terms of rhythm, that's not going to be as natural with the pause. And on fool, again for intonation,
people think that you're a fool.
Fool, rising instant, and let people think that you're a fool. falling intonation again is going to make it sound like you're done talking and things like that. It's going to kind of break up your rhythm a little bit and kind of catch your it's going to catch your listener off guard. Okay. Whereas
think that you're a fool.
let people think that you're a fool. There's a lot of finality to it. Okay. Whereas if you what was I going to say? If you let me hear it one more time.
That you're a fool.
Think that you're a fool. Again, there's so much finality to it. That you're a fool. You know, if you're a fool, that gives you a greater sense of continuation, a greater sense that there's going to be more happening. You know, keep listening.
Think that you're a fool. Then to open it and remove all doubt.
And then that second half.
Fool. Then to open it.
Then to open it. How about that? Then to.
A fool. Then to open it.
Then to. I would really recommend then open it.
Fool. Then to open.
Then to. So kind of a strong T sound there, like then to. You know, I would recommend there maybe even like a fast T, flap T. It's like then to open it. Then to open it. It's like then to open it. Then to open it. Do you hear that? Then the very light, very fast. Then to open it.
Then to open it. And
I said then to open it because there's nothing wrong with pronouncing that T sound. You will hear it pronounced that way. That is true. But I think this is going to be a little bit more common in terms of what you're going to hear.
open it and remove all doubt.
And remove all doubt. Remove all doubt.
Open it and remove all doubt.
Remove all doubt. I think it's okay if you stress all. Right now, you're putting the stress on all.
Open it and remove all doubt.
Remove all doubt. I would also, though, put a stress on doubt, too, if you do that.
All doubt.
All doubt. And remove all doubt.
And remove all doubt.
I said remove all doubt. Remove all doubt. Remove all doubt. Okay? So that would be what I would recommend there.
It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Yeah, so there's just kind of pay attention to all my comments there. I think that kind of covers the basic intonation patterns, stresses, linking, and things like that. Thank you for sending that file. I do appreciate it. Open it, meaning their mouth. Yeah. And I'm glad Shok was happy. Great quote for her. Yeah. Oh no, we're lagging a little bit. Grr. Hopefully we're back okay. Then the open it. Then I think it's just one of those things. I don't think it's, you know, I know all the general rules that you'll see with flap T's, but just with like two is just so often reduced. You know, listen to how native speakers are saying two with a lot of their words, and it's just then in a lot of ways it's kind of more treating it as it's like it's like doing it that way, or another way you could view it as kind of just removing the T and just leaving the schwa sound and then linking it together. It's like then so instead of then the, or like then it's like then the, or then okay, I think those are going to be more common ways to say that. Then open, it's like first way again with that fast D or very, very light fast D sounds like then the open it, or like just removing that fast D sound and with just replacing it with a schwa. It's like then open it. Okay, so I think those are some common ways that you'll hear that. Okay, but I would you may also hear this pronounced as like you will hear some people pronounce the T sound. Okay, it's like then to you. There are times where you also hear the T. So I would just say, hey, like and to. I would put that phrase into Youglish and to see different ways that native speakers are doing that. Okay. Lagging pretty bad. Hey guys, let me know like if the connection is really bad for you. Do tell me. For me, everything looks like it's fine. I'm not getting any notifications or anything about stream quality. But if it's lagging for you, let me know. I would appreciate knowing that. Thank you for stopping by and thanks for the kind words. It's great to see you. If you would like to send a pronunciation file for us to take a look at, it would be great. But even if you're just here to chill and hang, thanks for saying hello. Hope to see more of you, of course. And I did time out the president of Russia. This is in my space. This is the one place where I have a little bit of control, even over world leaders. Youglish is a website where you can type in a phrase. I can show you. Now, give me 1 sec. Youglish is such a powerful resource. So Youglish is a website. Okay. Gatak, thanks for letting me know. I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to fully pronounce your name. Send me an audio file of how to pronounce your name correctly, and I will do my best. But Youglish is a website. Like if you're not sure if what you're saying sounds natural and you kind of want to compare it to native speakers, this is the site to do it. So for instance, I could type in the phrase let's just kind of listen to some quick examples.
Rather than to question.
So you can hear he said rather than to. He pronounced it too.
These books. I believe it's better to chart your own path than to follow my.
He's again using the T sound. Okay.
People thought that they applied better to their own group than to the other group.
All these guys are doing than to.
It's not the end of the world.
If you're more of an audible person, meaning you prefer to listen rather than like look at.
You can hear right there. This is kind of capturing what I just mentioned.
Helps a little bit. If you're more of an audible person, meaning you prefer to listen rather than like look.
Rather than.
At things. A little bit. If you're more of an audible person, meaning you prefer to listen rather than like.
Rather than.
Look at things.
I keep doing it at the wrong spot. I'm sorry.
If you're more of an audible person, meaning you prefer to listen rather than like look at.
Rather than like. So things like that. But I would say, hey, like go here. You can listen to more examples and things like that. You're going to hear all kinds of variations because there's a wide variety. But a great resource to kind of get an idea of how our native speakers saying possible things. Okay. Yeah. Emmanuel, I'm sorry. I saw Zubeda's here. Hello to Zubeda. Okay. And I know Mahmoud. I saw you send it twice. I'm sorry you had to repeat that. I did see it the first time. Is it real impossible to get the hang of language and be like a native speaker? Good God. Heavy questions here. I think a lot depends on, these are always hard questions to answer. Okay. What I would say is that it kind of depends on your determination and what situations you're putting yourself in and how you're, how are you doing it? What are the steps? Okay. What are you doing to put yourself in a position where you can sound native like? Okay. So I'm actually, the next video I'm doing or considering doing is going to take a look at, for instance, like the actor Idris Elba, who is, okay, so he speaks British English as opposed to American English, but I mean, there's pretty relatively significant pronunciation differences between British English and American English. But, when he's acting in roles for American English, he can convince many people that a lot of people did not know that he was originally from England. When people heard him in like shows like The Wire and things like that. A lot of actors, are able to take on accents that make them sound, if not completely native, like very natural, in different languages and things like that. Okay. So I do think it's possible to do that. I don't think it's impossible, but what are the steps you need to take? You need to be putting yourself in position to be using English as much as possible. On the other hand of that, you need to put yourself in positions where you are not using your first language as much as possible. Think of it this way. Every time you use your first language, your mind relaxes. It's easier. Your mind wants you to use your first language. It's easier for it. It doesn't have to work as hard. The mind is very lazy. So every time you're using a second language is putting in more work. So one of the things that, for instance, Idris mentions is that when he's in character, or if he's like, if he's performing, then what he's doing for the entire time that he's doing filming, he only speaks like that character. He's one of those like character actors, where he just that's what he wants to do. He becomes that person. And so You know, if American English is something you're serious about, limiting the amount of first language that you're using, increasing the amount of second language that you're using, exposing yourself to the accent that you're trying to learn as much as possible. That's going to be key. Things like shadowing exercises. These are all key things. I do think it's possible, but it obviously it takes a lot of work. You have to decide, is it worth the amount of effort to do it? For some people, it's not. Some people like the challenge. You know, if you're watching this channel, you're probably not here just because like your accent's bad or anything. I mean, all the audio files we're hearing, people are very clear. We understand everything you're saying. So that's not the issue. The issue is that you just personally are interested in pronunciation and you have that goal to just sound native like. And there's nothing wrong with having that goal. I'm like that when I'm learning languages too. I think it can push you in things like that. But just understand that, hey, it's going to take work. Are you ready to put in that work? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? You know, if it means that, hey, I need to find ways to talk to native speakers, even though native speakers don't live around me. You know, are you willing to put in that effort? I think that's really what it comes down to. But let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think? Is it possible? Is it not? Talk about it. I see a lot of comments and things like that. I'm not going to go quite in order because some of these are a little easier to answer than others. How can you send your own voice notes? At the very top of the chat box, I've included a link where you can send in. Oh, wait, that's not the right one. This is the one you want. Okay. This is the one where you can send in your own file. And what you will see is this document here. Once this loads, okay, you'll see this document and you'll be able to add to it your own file. Just follow all those directions up top. Okay, it would be great to hear from you. Okay. Also from Mike, you know, Johnny Depp. I mean, technically, didn't they both win? I mean, Johnny Depp won more. You know, he won like what, $10 million, whereas Amber, I think she won $2 million. So I mean, in that sense, yeah. But I think technically, I think they both won aspects of their lawsuits. Can't fill in the sheet. If you go down to, I'm looking at my protections. A1 to L5. If you go down to like, this is for Kaisha. If you go down to like A22, 23, 24, okay. See if you can add the file there. Okay, I'm sorry. If it doesn't let you send it, let me know. Okay. But try that first. Put it anywhere too. You know, if it doesn't work there, you can also like put it like like over here or like over here. Just put it somewhere and tell me where you put it. Okay. Just a note. But it should be open. Gotta ask a huge question. Can you please go over the difference between chunks and stressing? Yeah. Okay. So chunks, let me know if I'm misinterpreting this, but chunks for me are like thought groups. So it's like the group of words that you can say together in a sentence that go together. Okay. And then in a thought group, there's typically, or in that chunk, there's going to be one word that receives the heaviest stress. So for instance, in that phrase I just said, in that thought group, that's a thought group. In that thought group, I'm stressing the word in that thought group. Okay. So things like that. Okay. So thought groups, and then one word is going to receive the heaviest stress. It's just a note there. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have more questions about that, be sure to let me know. Stress, by the way, is also it's a word that tends to have the highest pitch, and it's also a word that tends to be held the longest in your thought group. It's just a note about that. Okay, let me know if that doesn't make any sense. We have some positive comments. Can you learn? Is pronunciation a realistic goal? Like sounding native like. Okay. You can do more than one, but I don't know if I'm gonna. I may not have time to do more than one. But you can send one. You can send more than one. That's fine. Rumi saying it's possible. Manuel saying it's possible. Some tips from Rumeza. I think awareness 100%. Because a lot of people you don't know what you sound like. Like if you're studying pronunciation, but you have never recorded your voice, I don't know how serious you are about pronunciation. I'll be honest. If you've never recorded yourself, but you are interested in pronunciation, I don't know if you're serious. Because if you're not recording yourself, you have no idea what you sound like. You know, when you talk, your skull, your head is very generous to your voice when you hear it. Like when you talk and you hear your own voice, your skull is being very generous to you. It's making things sound a lot warmer. It's giving you some nice vibrations and things like that. But then when people hear you, they don't hear all that. They hear your actual voice, you know? So that's why when you listen to recording yourself, most people hate the sound of their voice because they lose all those qualities that make their voice, you know, sound more pleasant to themselves. Okay? So yeah, recording yourself is certainly your best option. Okay. Mike giving us the lowdown on the payouts and things like that. If you guys have any thoughts on the trial, feel free to share them with us. Share them with Mike. I'm not surprised that Deb doesn't want that. I have not been following the trial. I just see the headlines every now and then. Asking about thought groups again. Stressing more than one word in a thought group. There can be more than one stress, but there should only be one heavy stress. Okay, so really only try to have one. One of the biggest issues I see with students is that they have too many stresses. So I would say for practice, try cutting down the amount of stresses you have. Try cutting down on the number of thought groups you have. Just when you're practicing. The beta mentioned it's not background noise. Okay. We'll keep an eye out for them, for sure. Okay. Other things I'm missing. Take a quick water break.
Like what you're hearing? Let us know by liking and subscribing.
This is our Year of the Dragon mode, by the way. Happy, well, it's not Year of the Dragon, but if anyone else, any dragons in here? Any people born in Year of the Dragon? Let me know. Let me know what your Chinese symbol is. Yeah. If anyone knows when I first listened to my words. Yeah. Yeah, people sound completely different. It's if you're not prepared for it, it can be very upsetting. So it's not something you can be prepared for. But I will say that the more you do, it's kind of like video. You know, when I first started making videos, it's like, you know, it's awkward seeing yourself. But the more you do it, you know, you kind of just you really stop caring. You know, the more you listen to yourself, you really stop caring. You're just like, oh yeah, that's how I sound. Okay, that's me. Mahmoud with a great question. How can I apply rhythm in my speech? That's a huge one because probably the biggest difference between the way you're talking and the way native speakers in English are talking is related to rhythm. So this is where Kaisha, unfortunately, if you send the link here, it unfortunately won't be accepted. You can do it. I'm trying to think. If you send me an email, you send me a link by email, I'll be able to see it there. Let me see. But going back to Mahmoud's thing, and let me know, Kaisha, when you send that. How can I apply rhythm in my speech? This is where shadowing exercises are super helpful. Okay. What we want to, the ideal goal is to develop your kind of just your gut instincts of what sounds natural versus what sounds unnatural. Okay. So like, it's like, you know, if you talk to a native speaker and like you ask them, hey, what's wrong with my pronunciation? You know, they may be like, oh, like, yeah, you have an accent, but I don't know why. You know, that's that gut instinct. Something they know something is different, but they can't tell you exactly what that is. We want to develop that sense for you too, where you don't necessarily have to think about it, but you can just kind of tell like, oh yeah, this is right or this is wrong. You know, so this is where shadowing exercises are extremely helpful. Okay, so so what's going to happen is that you know, the more shadowing that you do, the more repetition that you do, you're developing that sense of what sounds good and what sounds natural versus what sounds unnatural and things like that. You know, so just kind of something to keep in mind. That's the easiest, simplest answer I can tell you is like, hey, try to do more shadowing. When you're shadowing, you know, The worst is like, I have some students that say they shadow. And I was like, oh, great. How'd you shadow? And they're like, oh, well, I watched this movie. I watched the movie. And I was like, how long was this movie? Like 2 hours. And I was like, how much did you watch? And they're like, oh, I watched the full movie. I shadowed the full I shadowed the full 2 hours. And that always it's a missed opportunity. Think about 2 hours, 2 hour movie. That's 2 hours of content. That's so much information to take in. Okay. That's so much information to take in. Okay. So if you're shadowing something, my biggest recommendation is keep it small. Instead of like shadowing an entire movie, maybe just do like a minute, 2 minutes, even 3 minutes is probably too much. And like do lots and lots of repetition. And you want to be paying attention to what are the stressed words. Maybe another time you shadow, focus on the pitches. Where do they go highest? Where do they go lowest? Trying to play around with your range. How are they linking words together? Focus on the vowel sounds. These are all things you want to be paying attention to. You don't necessarily need to do all of them at the same time. But, over time, spend a little bit of time on each of those sorts of topics. But shadowing is the best suggestion I have. And recording yourself and comparing how you sound to native speakers. That's definitely my biggest suggestion. Yeah. Okay. Just heads up in the chat, I'm keeping an eye on things, but keep things cordial. I'm not going to name any specific names, but keep things chill here. We're adults, I believe, mostly. All right, if you guys have some other questions, Kaisha mentioned that they send an email. Keeping an eye out. Okay. Let me know when the email's there. Lots of great questions. I'm going to try to get through as much of these as we can. We did Marcin. Let's take a look at Muhammad's first one. Bring this back up.
It is better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Yeah, very similar to our first one. And yes, I imagine, but just keep things chill.
It is better to...
Okay, so this has even more thought groups than the previous audio file of this sentence. So the immediate thing I'm going to tell you, you have a lot of thought groups. Are there any that we can cut out? Because what's going to happen is you're going to get a really choppy sentence. And let me show you.
It is better to...
It is better. Pause.
Keep your mouth closed.
So keep your mouth closed. Pause.
And let people think.
And let people think. Pause.
You're a fool.
You're a fool. It is better to keep your mouth closed and let people think that you're a fool. That's so broken up. You're never giving yourself a chance to flow and move. Okay. So how could we do that? It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool. It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you're a fool. So I would cut your thought groups in half. That's the very first thing I'm going to tell you for that first part.
Then to open it.
Then to open it.
Remove all doubt.
And remove all doubt. Okay. So then to open it. Then to
fool. Then to open it.
Then to open it. I think you're stressing the right I think you're stressing the right word, but I think your intonation's off.
Fool. Then to open it.
Then to open it. Then to open it. Or like then to open it. Then to open it. I'd probably use the rising intonation on it. Open it. Open it. Open it. I think that would be a little bit more natural rhythm.
I remove all doubt.
And remove all doubt. And remove all doubt. A little bit flat there.
Open it. I remove all doubt.
Remove all doubt. Remove all doubt. Remove all doubt. I think lower your pitch on all. Because right now your pitches are all the same. Remove all doubt.
To open it. I remove all doubt.
Yeah, remove all doubt. Remove all doubt. Super flat. Remove all doubt. Remove all doubt. That's just going to add some contrast. It's going to help your listener to distinguish between your words a little bit more easily. Okay, because right now we're just kind of staying always at the same pitch level. And we want to just increase the range because it's going to make you sound a little more natural. It'll make your life easier for your listeners as well.
It is better.
It is better. Again, pitch is kind of saying, it is better. It is better.
It is better
It is better. It is better
to keep your mouth closed.
to keep your mouth closed. It's better to keep your mouth closed.
It is better to keep your mouth closed.
It is better to keep your mouth closed. But again, probably just have one stress. It's better to keep your mouth closed. It's better to keep your mouth closed. So you can stress closed. It's better to keep your mouth closed. Or you could do, it's better to keep your mouth closed.
And let
It's better to keep your mouth closed. So I think either of those stress patterns could work. But the big thing is going to be mixing up your pitches, because right now everything's like at the same level. Let's mix it up more. Greater variety.
it is better to keep your mouth closed and let people think.
Let people. Okay. You asked specifically about placement, so let's talk about placement for let.
And let people think.
And let.
And let people.
And let. Can you say let? Let. Can you hear the difference between how I'm saying let and how you're saying it?
Closed and let people.
And let versus and let. A little bit more open. Le. My guess is if you're able to say with a pretty open and low placement, then the issue is probably the L sound. A lot of people, when they're doing L's, it tends to close things off. I think the issue is for all of these consonants that especially involve kind of like frontal mouth position changes. So like, for instance, the tip of your tongue going high, making contact with the top of your mouth, times where your lips need to go around and things like that. Anytime you're doing a lot of movement in this area, it causes a lot of people to tense up, close things off, and that can have a huge impact on your vowel sound when you don't intend it to. So like I said, le, more le. It's like le. See if you could just go back and forth between those, and your vowel sound should be the same for both. One video that we also have too, and let people. It's like when I'm saying that, and let people. I don't know if you can see that with my tongue, but I'm actually, when I'm saying and let, the tip of my tongue is holding at the very bottom of my mouth. It's touching my bottom front teeth. And let. Okay, so instead of and let, more and let. Okay, and that's helping me also kind of keep my placement low. It's allowing me to link more. It's weakening my consonant sound. It's letting my vowel sounds be stronger. All of these things by just lowering my tongue.
Closed and let people think you're a fool.
Fool, another placement word here. Can you say fool? In fact, take off the L. Can you say foo really quick? Foo. Notice again how straight my lips are, right? Foo. I know you guys see, I just posted a video. I did a short yesterday talking, or 2 days ago, talking about how, it's okay to exaggerate with your lips and do like ooh sounds and things like that. But thanks to placement, keeping things low and open, a lot of times your lip position doesn't really matter. So you could say like fool, but you can also say fool. Notice how straight my lips are. Ooh. As long as your placement's good, the lip position is less important. It's like, just make sure you can say ooh, back of your tongue high, front of your tongue down. Make sure your placement's low and your throat's super open with lots of air. Like ooh. Now, because this is considered a long vowel, and when you have a long vowel plus an L, it's going to break into two parts. It's like ooh. Notice on the my lower jaw is going to drop a little bit. Ooh. Okay, keep the tip of your tongue down. Raise the back of your tongue. It's like that all sound. Ooh. Now we can say fool. I don't even recommend saying that 3 times fast. Fool. Okay. So just watch out in terms of placement. Those are some quick tips for that word.
Think you're a fool. Then to open it and remove.
Then to open it, we talked about linking for that earlier in the stream.
To open it and remove all doubt.
This will be the last thing I want to talk about here. Then to open it and to remove all doubt. It's very choppy.
You're a fool. Then to open it.
Then to open it. Drop it. Lower your pitch on it. It's way too high. It's like that's going to make it sound a little bit less natural. Open it versus open it. Okay. Again, we want greater contrast with your pitches because right now you're using too much of the same pitch.
People think you're a fool. Then to open it and remove all doubt.
Because you like open it and open it and it's like everything there is at the same pitch. Open it and versus open it and open it and it's like no, it's down, down, down. Open it and open it and open it and open it and I would practice that drill too, just trying to go down, 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 down. Lowering pitches is super important in English. Tends to be more difficult for a lot of people than raising pitches. So those are the things I would really be targeting in your speech. Okay, but thank you for sending the audio file. I do appreciate it. I don't know if we'll have time for your second one because there's so many files here. Okay. Got that mentioned that they sent a file. Did you email it? I'm guessing. Okay. Try check. Jeff, are you still learning Italian? See? Jeff, I want to let you focus on accent when learning. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a very similar experience with Italian that you guys do with English, where pronunciation was something that wasn't really taught or wasn't really a topic that we had a lot of exposure to until we already reached a relatively advanced level. You know, it wasn't until I got to like C1, C2 in Italian that we started having like really more serious pronunciation classes, you know, so it's a lot going backwards. My issues with Italian are kind of the opposite of the things I talk about in English. English is stressing vowel sounds. Italian is focusing on consonant sounds. So I'm holding consonants too long. Italian is stress timed. Syllables are relatively regular length. American English doesn't do that. American English, if the syllable's reduced, I say it a lot faster. So one thing that I find when I'm listening to myself in Italian is I say things too fast. I weaken syllables that I'm not supposed to weaken. So like, you know, it takes a lot of, I really have to concentrate to make sure I'm saying each syllable just a touch longer. Things like that, and trying to keep it a little equal. Italian, you know, Italian is also a language that's known for being very musical, but the reality is it's actually really flat. You don't really get a whole lot of movement and pitches until usually towards the end of a sentence. Whereas in English, you get way more variety and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely something I'm focusing on, and stuff like that. Definitely. When I'm watching, so my son, I only talk to my son in Italian. I'm not obviously not a native speaker, but I do okay. But we'll try to maybe like every day we watch maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of videos just to like to give him exposure so he can hear some native people because there's not too many Italian natives where we live. It's like he still gets a little bit of exposure with native speakers, and pretty much when we're watching the videos, I'm just shadowing what the characters are saying just to give myself some practice too. Yep. Let's see. Question is reading out loud improve your accent? I think it depends what you're reading. I think this is a great question. If you're reading out loud, what I would say is that what would I say? I would do transcripts from like interviews and things like that, because if you're reading out loud books, you know, keep in mind the intended audience, right? For a book, the intention was to be read, you know, in your head, right? It wasn't meant to be, usually they're not meant to be read out loud. So the language that they use in writing is just very different than the language people use when they're talking. So I think this could work, but if you use transcripts from interviews, I think that's a little bit nicer because those transcripts now are based on oral language, not written language, right? So you're getting phrases and things that are a little bit more natural for speaking. So yeah, my recommendation would be, hey, try to use some transcripts. If you're not sure where to go for transcripts and things like that, let me bring this back. Check out a resource. So one easy place where you can go to is if you go to npr.org, I'll put the link here. And the reason that I use this a lot with students during our group, so every week actually before the live stream, and this is something that you guys can join as well. If you go to fluentamerican.com, you can sign up for our group analysis classes. Or if you become a channel member, it's the $20 option. Patreon.com, or some opportunities here. And this is a really good deal for you in general, because this is probably like $60 or more worth of content that you're getting for $20. Because basically every Saturday, what we do is we analyze in my group class. It's a 30-minute group class every Saturday, and what we do is we just analyze what native speakers are doing in their speech. So these are if you go to npr.org/programs or podcasts, these are different podcasts that they have, and let's go. Not all of them will have this, but click on a podcast, and if the logo you're looking for is like this one right here, because this means that basically they have a transcript. So then you can see what they say, and then you can play the audio up here. Okay, so that's an option for some things to use. So that way you can listen to them and you can shadow yourself and things like that. But yeah, my group class is a half hour on Saturdays at 12 p.m. We listen to them. We talk about kind of like what we do today. We talk about what words are they stressing, what linking are they doing, and we try to shadow it. We try to copy it and things like that. Okay. So that's just some things to check out for that. Alrighty. Let's keep this train going, right? That's Mohammed. Next up, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel, did you put the words in? Thank you, sir. Good time for all the audios today. We'll do as many as we can. that's unfortunately, there's a lot. And this is great. I'm glad to see everybody, but we'll do as many as we can. Hello to Bymaster. Thanks for joining us. Great to have you. Okay. Faceless, nameless. I will do everything I can. Okay, maybe we could do a blitz one. And this is okay. Going from Peter. Okay. The only thing. So I'm glad you brought this up about TED Talks. I actually have a video that talks all about TED Talks. And the thing you want to be careful with TED Talks is that when people are giving presentations and like public speaking, that's a very different style of talking than when you're talking to your friends and things like that. It's kind of like if you studied speaking by only listening to the news. Newscasters, broadcasters, they go to school to learn a very specific way of talking. That's not how they talk, when they're talking to friends and things like that. So my biggest suggestion would be TED Talks. I understand the attraction. Those also have transcripts too. But the way they talk is a little bit artificial because it's not the most natural setting. So that's why I think like conversations between native speakers, interviews, and things like that in some ways can be a little bit more natural. Just a note. Okay. Again, Bymaster, great to see you. Let's take a look at this one. For the sake of time, I'm just going to try to highlight some real quick things for the next couple files, okay?
Few things are harder to put up with than the annoyance of a good example.
First thing I want to example. Watch out for that A sound plus the M. Am. So or am.
Annoyance of a good example.
Example versus example. Okay. See if you hear a difference between mine and yours there on example. That's a good example.
Few things are harder to.
Is it few things or few? Few things are hard to put up with. Okay, few things.
Few things are harder to put up with.
Put up with. Few things are harder to put up with.
Things are harder to put up with.
Put up with. A few things are hard to put up with. Put up with. I would lower your pitch on with because it's almost, I don't think you're stressing it, but it almost sounds like you're getting into that territory. So lower your pitch on with so that way it doesn't sound like your stress word. A few things are hard to put up with. A few things are hard to put up with. Okay, so lower your pitch on with.
To put up with, then the annoyance of a good example. Then the annoyance.
Then the annoyance. Annoyance. Annoyance.
Then the annoyance.
Annoyance.
Then the annoyance.
Annoyance. Annoyance.
Then the annoyance.
Annoyance. Annoyance. I would have gone a little bit more ints. Ints. Just a little bit more short eye. More ints. Annoyance.
Then the annoyance of a good example.
Then the annoyance of a good example.
Then the annoyance of a good example.
Yeah, so those would be some little vowel things in there. And in general, I like your rhythm and things like that. Those are the big things that are jumping out to me. I'm going to move on to our next audio, but I think this gives you some quick tips. Watch out for the short I. Watch out for that A sound plus the M. Those are big things there. I like your in general sound pretty open and low, which is great. Thank you, Emmanuel. So for the sake of time, then let's do Give Me Two. Let's do this one.
Lack of money is the root of all evil.
You kind of get some background noise. I want to just hear the second one just in case that one might be a little bit clearer. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Mamma mia, I can live for 2 months and a good compliment.
Let me do the first one. Okay, so there's some background noise here, so I'm going to have to do this a little bit fast because I want that to be a distraction.
Lack of money is the root of all evil.
The part here that's we're really going to want to target is the second half.
Lack of money is the root of all evil.
It's like a root. The oo sound is the root. Okay. Compare that to the original.
Root of all evil.
Back a little more.
Lack of money is the root of
The root versus the root. I think you could be a little bit more open on your oo sound. Because right now it sounds a little bit closed off.
the root of all
Is the root
and is the root of all evil.
all evil? Your L sounds. The British influence is a little bit strong. The British Empire.
Root of all evil.
All evil versus all evil. Can you say all? Way more air through your throat. All. Is it all more? All. Front of your tongue down. Mid back of your tongue's a little bit high, but your tongue and your throat, you need to allow more air through your throat because you're really blocking it off. The air is very restricted. So you're getting this
Of all evil.
versus Can you hear the difference between and So a little bit more open, especially in your throat area, right around here. Okay. And then for evil.
Of all evil.
Evil. Your lower jaw feels very tense to me. Evil. Just drop it. Okay. Just let it hang there. Just like gravity. Just like pull it down. Evil. The root of all evil. One thing that could be helpful too is just pronouncing vowels. It's like the evil. The root of all evil. Okay. So just trying to get things more open in that second half because right now it's feeling very closed off.
Lack of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, it's interesting because that first half of it sounds relatively open and relaxed to me.
Lack of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, that second half of that sentence, pay attention to everything I just mentioned there. Those are going to be big suggestions. Thanks for sending that file. Next up. See what we got here.
There are basically two types of people: people who accomplish things and people who claim to have accomplished things. The first group is less crowded.
Oh my gosh, that's a long one. Good stuff, especially like the second half of this. I think the second half of this is great.
People who accomplish things and
I like your stresses. So once you get to this point on, I like your stresses.
of people who accomplish things and
People who accomplish things. Great.
people who accomplish things and people who claim to have accomplished things.
And people who claim to have accomplished things. You could have played with your pitches and intonation a little bit more just to make it sound a little bit more dramatic. There's nothing wrong with the way you did it. But I would probably add a little bit of emphasis.
People who accomplish things
People who accomplish things. I'm okay with that.
and people who claim to have accomplished things.
And people who claim to have accomplished things. So I would have gone up a little bit more on claim just to make it stand out even more, to show that contrast from the first group. People who accomplish things and people who claim to have accomplished things. Just to make it stand out.
People who claim to have accomplished things.
People who claim to have accomplished things. Just kind of like you're playing it very safe. You know, it's kind of like neutral and things like that. But let's exaggerate. We already know what we sound like when we play it safe. Let's go crazy. Let's add some things. Let's add some spice.
Accomplished things. The first group is less crowded.
The first group is less crowded.
Group is less crowded.
Again, just a little bit flat.
The first group is less crowded.
The first group is less crowded. You know, like it's good. Just, I don't have, you know, stylistically, there's nothing wrong here. I think this is fine.
Things. The first group is less crowded.
The first group is less crowded. If you wanted to just kind of take it up a notch, though, you know, The first group's less crowded.
The first group is less crowded.
I would probably say like that. The first group's less crowded. People who claim to have accomplished things. The first group's less crowded. The first group is less crowded. I would use a greater variety of pitches just to make things stand out a little bit more. Because right now it's just, I think this is a solid base. There's nothing I would say that's like fundamentally off, but let's make it more engaging, especially on like, this is a quote. Try and be memorable,
There are basically two types of people.
This part took me like a second.
There are basically two types of people. People.
And the more I hear,
there
it's
are
easier.
basically two types.
And I think the issue is that the pitches are all the same.
There are basically.
There are basically, like everything's the same. There are basically. So it's hard for me as a listener to kind of differentiate it because you're just giving me pitch. Same. There are basically. What would have been really helpful for me is if you had lowered that pitch on R. There are basically. There are basically
two types of people.
There are basically two. There are basically two. There are basically two. Something like that would have been immensely helpful for me as a listener just to kind of differentiate because right now it's just blending all together.
There are basically two types of people.
Two types of people.
Basically two types of people.
Two types of. There are basically two types of people. Again, you do have an opportunity to here with some just playing around pitch more like two types of people. There are basically two types of people. I think making two a little bit higher on pitch just to add some extra stress and weight would also be beneficial. There are basically two types of people.
Two types of people.
Because right now it's just a little bit flat. So again, I think fundamentally I don't have a lot to say. But aside from that very first point about just kind of lowering your pitch, but I would like you to kind of explore with adding a little bit more tone and emotion to your speech because right now it's just sounding a little bit flat. Okay. But Rumi, thank you for sending that. It was great to hear from you, Meza. Okay, I think I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to check our email, people, after this.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm 17 years old, and I'm working on improving my accent.
Okay, this is a long file, so let's kind of take apart.
Hi, my name is Peter. I'm 17 years old, and I'm working on improving my accent.
Not bad.
Hi, my name.
Hi. Can you get just a little bit more air through on that and then your hi? Hi. It's a hi. You're kind of like chopping off the air at the very end, like hi versus hi. Can you just let the breath just go out just a little bit longer? Hi.
Hi, my name.
It's like hi. My name is like you're kind of holding it.
Hi, my name is Peter.
My name
is Peter.
Back it up more.
Hi, my name is Peter.
My name's Peter. My name's Peter.
Hi, my name's Peter.
My name's Peter. I think your M sounds a little strong. It's slightly tense. Okay, and that's causing name to sound a little bit tense. First, my name's Peter. My name's Peter. One experiment I would say, can you say names? My name's Peter. My name's Peter. Can you say my name's Peter without your lips touching until the P? My name's Peter. My name's Peter. My name's Peter. Okay. Just try to weaken that consonant sound a little bit.
Hi, my name's Peter. I'm 17 years old. And
can you say old? Old. I'm here old versus old. Just try to open things up a little bit on that all sound.
Years old, and I'm working on improving my accent.
Improving.
Improving my accent.
Improving. Can you say improving 3 times? Improving. You try to get it flowing, and if you sign it, you're saying like improving. That's a sign that maybe your MPR sound is probably a little bit too strong. It's just a note there.
Improving my accent.
This actually brings up a great point. So my video tomorrow, I really would love it if you guys check out the video that's coming out tomorrow, because it's going to talk about this very sound, this sound. Because when people are saying you're immediately giving yourselves away as language learners, which again is no issue about that. But for a lot of you guys here, you're perfectionists or you want to sound really, really natural. And so one of the words that you probably want to start focusing on is the word or because most likely the way you're saying that is kind of like what we're hearing in this audio. Versus because trying to get that lower and more open for that schwa sound. So definitely take a look at our video coming out tomorrow. That's going to be super helpful on that.
I'm currently working on how to sound more native.
How about that part there? And this will be the last part before we move on. Yeah, I just said that.
Currently working on how to. I'm currently working on how to.
I'm currently working on how to. I'm currently working on how to. Pitches. You're giving me the same pitch or roughly the same pitch. I'm currently working on how to. I'm currently working on how to. If we added some higher pitches and some lower pitches, I'm currently working on how to. I'm currently working on how to. On how to. On how to. On how to. It's like take some of your pitches, go lower. Take some of your other pitches, go higher. Okay, because right now we're just sounding really flat. You know, so if you're trying to achieve a more natural sound, it's an easy way to do it.
On how to sound more native in terms.
Also native, a little bit tense. Native versus native. Okay. So just some things to consider right there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, be sure to let me know. But thank you so much for doing that. Emmanuel also noting their thinking sound too. Okay, guys, for the sake of time, did we get to this one? That was Peter, right? So, Beta, I see your name, but I don't see a file. I think I might have to pass on that one. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to open up my email, see what files we got. Okay, and of course, if you have some questions, I have some time to wrap up these last couple that I got sent by email. I see one from John. Okay. But I want to wrap up this one here. But if you guys have some questions and things, be sure to let me know. Move this to our area. Okay. Take a listen to this.
If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.
You're speaking very carefully. And, of course, thank you, Rumi. You're speaking very carefully. And careful speech is going to be speech that always makes you sound accented.
If you tell the truth.
If you tell the truth. If you tell the truth.
If you tell the truth.
If you tell the truth versus if you tell the truth. So the very first thing I'm going to tell you is placement. We're being really high. Okay, so first thing, short I. If you're looking for a vowel sound to study, I would recommend starting with the short I sound, the I sound. Okay, if
you tell the.
If you tell, when you say tell, where's your tongue at the end?
If you tell.
When you say tell, where's the tip of your tongue? Is it high, top touching your top tooth, top of your mouth, or is it low, touching your bottom of your mouth? Tell. Ideally for tell, you want that tip of the tongue down, bottom of your mouth. Raise the back of your tongue. Tell. So say tell, or tell. Okay. Can you say tell the? When you say that, when you say tell the.
If you tell the truth.
Tell. It sounds like you're saying tell the. This is one of those situations. I have a video that talks about mouth, like tricks with your tongue. Like if you go to my channel and you type in like tricks for your tongue. I can show you really quick the video you want to look out because I think it's going to give you a lot of helpful things for these situations to kind of weaken your consonant sounds while also giving you a more natural sound. So we're going to search. There it is. So the video you want is like you type in, I think it's tongue tricks. This is going to teach you some techniques that you can use to link sounds together. Because like when you're saying tell the, this first one here. Okay, just typed in tongue tricks. So we're saying tell the. This is the case where saying the with the tip of your tongue actually down against your bottom tooth might make the linking easier. Tell the truth, tell the truth, tell the truth versus tell the truth. Because if you do like tell the, that's making everything really choppy. Your consonant sounds become so strong. Okay, and it's never going to give you a chance to flow. Okay, so just watch out for that.
You tell the truth.
Truth, truth. When you say truth, the ooth part.
You don't have the truth.
Truth. When you're making your THs, how are you making them? My suggestion, you want to make sure the tip of your tongue is touching your top front tooth. Truth, truth. I have a feeling that your tongue may be a little bit between your teeth. Truth. And that's kind of just for linking purposes and things like that. That can be a little bit difficult. So instead, just have very light contact with your top front tooth. Truth, truth.
Truth. You don't have to remember anything.
Yeah, and the other parts just again, it's the big thing is it just sounds really choppy.
You don't have to remember.
You don't have to remember. You don't have to remember. Versus I would say as you don't have to remember. You don't have to remember. Don't have to. Don't have to. So reductions. Reductions are another thing that I would really encourage you to study. That's another. If you go to a channel and type in don't have to remember. It's gonna have I have a video that's called like a reduction workout, and it basically just gives you lots of exercises to practice adding reductions to your speech. So instead of you don't have to
remember.
You don't have to remember versus you don't have to remember. Don't have to remember. Have to remember. Have to remember. That's just in terms of sound. That's the way you're often going to actually hear that said. You don't have to remember. So I would also study a little bit of reductions and things like that. Okay, lots of material and things like that to review. I do hope that's helpful. If you have some questions about that, be sure to let me know. But for the sake of time, I do have to move on. But thank you for sending that audio file. I do appreciate it. Take a look. I can now see Zobedas. Okay, I think this is going. Unfortunately, this is going to have to be our last file from today. If you sent second files and things like that, I'm sorry. Just time and some of our fun ones of seeing like Trump and Obama. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Just time was against us today.
I think it's not possible to sound like a native, but we can improve
What happened?
a lot.
Oh, kind of like died there for a second. I want to play it one more time.
I think it's not possible to sound like a native, but we can improve a lot.
Okay.
I think it's not possible.
I think it's not possible. Just like another thing, I think it's not possible. Like probably a little more common to say like I don't think it's possible. Just a note.
I think it's not possible to sound like a native.
I think it's not possible to sound like a native.
I think it's not possible to sound like a native, but
I like your butt. Native, but I like that. That's a great transition. Supernatural. Native, but okay.
native, but we can improve a lot.
We can improve a lot. We can improve a lot. My biggest thing is going to be pitches again, because I think we're kind of hanging around again, like the same like 2 or 3 pitches. Let's see if we could add some wider variety.
I think it's not possible.
I think it's not possible. I think it's not possible. Just to give you some options, like I think it's not possible to sound like a native, but like stuff like that, just kind of adding more variety. Versus, I think it's not possible. Like I think it's not possible to sound like a native.
I think it's not possible to sound like a native.
I think it's not possible. Another thing too, you could try experimenting with is cutting down on stresses. Because right now you're kind of giving me 3.
I think it's not possible.
You give me 2 there. I think it's not possible. Stress on possible.
Sound like a native.
A native. I think it's not possible to sound like a native. If we had 2, like I think it's not possible. I think it's not possible to sound like a native. I think it's not possible to sound like a native. I think it's not possible to sound like a native. Or like, even maybe cut off the stress on native. I think it's not possible to sound like a native.
But we can improve a lot.
But we can improve a lot. We can improve a lot. I think it's not possible to sound like a native. But we can improve a lot. kind of an optimistic ending. So one intonation pattern you may hear for that. I think we can improve a lot. I think it's not possible to sound like a native, but I think we can improve a lot. So I would probably just stress improve and then have a slight rising intonation. A lot. Okay. I think we can improve a lot. If you're giving like a suggestion or kind of highlighting an idea, kind of common to use a rising intonation at the end. I think it's not possible to sound like a native, but I think we can improve a lot. Just in terms of like intonation patterns, that would be my recommendation there. I hope that is helpful, Zabeta. All right, and let's just give you guys back your screen. Last question here from, this is Kevin. Okay, great. Kevin, be sure to send us some more audio files in the future. It's great to have you. First, I was finishing your feedback. Thanks, of course. Science fiction is just soft and constant sound. Should also work on pronunciation. I'm just going to listen on my end to files again. I would start off with the things I mentioned. There may be some pronunciation things that come up, but right now, because the consonants, I think your consonant sounds are just pretty dominant. So opening up your vowel sounds a little bit more, letting them kind of get more of the main stage when you're talking, I think will help reveal some of the other sounds that may be worth studying. But I would definitely target the things I mentioned earlier in the feedback. Those would be the things I would start with personally. Yeah, because occasionally I'm listening again. Like sometimes, like some sounds are a little bit tense, like your eyes sound fight, more fight, things like that. Opening things up. Some of your vowel sounds are a little bit fast, like for instance, your ah sound and not. So just holding your vowel sounds longer. Those would be my big recommendations. Okay, for the sake of time, guys, I do have to run and prepare for my next class, but thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday with me in the Schwab Mill. Some quick notes, too, before I head out. If you found today's practice really helpful, we do this every single day of the week in our Telegram group. Okay, if you go to patreon.com/fluentamerican, or if you just look below this YouTube stream, if you see where it says like join or become a member, for $5 a month at patreon.com, or I think it's $6 or $7 on YouTube, whatever's easier for you. You get 31 days of access, depending on the month, where every single day I listen to your pronunciation, just like today, and I give you some feedback. And there's another instructor that joins me as well. Her name is Lenoria. She's great. I've worked with her for years. So you're getting pronunciation feedback from 2 instructors every single day for $5 a month. I don't know of any pronunciation deal that's personally better than that. So something that's kind of worth checking out. But regardless, thank you so much for spending, again, part of your Saturday with me. I know you have many options when it comes to American English pronunciation. So yeah, you guys enjoy your Saturday. Check out our video tomorrow, again, talking about and the schwa sound. It was actually it's probably one of the most fun videos I've had to make so far. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it too. And I will see you guys later. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. And we'll see you at the next Schwab Mill, where we craft your accent. Take care, guys.